Joining us from Vancouver is Dan Morrison, the president of the Real Estate Board of the Greater Vancouver Area. Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure, Bev.
So a lot of people were waiting to see what would happen, a month or so after this new tax went into effect. Is it solely because of the tax, or are there a number of other, market factors?
No, we actually been reporting for about 3 or 4 months now that the market was trending down, that the activity levels had been falling. And, and as you mentioned a few minutes ago, the actual number of sales in August is very, very close to what we would typically expect in an August.
So with sales trending down, is it still a seller's market?
We have a tool called the sales to active listing price ratio, and that number actually about 4 months ago was right off the charts. In 25 years as a realtor, I had never seen that kind of pressure on prices, and prices were moving up quite dramatically. However, every month for the last 4 months, that number has been trending down, and now that number sits at about 29%. So we've gone from 68% to 29%. However, that is still indicative of a seller's market, and we don't get down to what we call a balanced market, which is a perfect market from a realtor's perspective, because both buyers and sellers are happy, and that's in the teens. So, and we actually don't see downward pressure on prices until that number starts to fall below 12%.
Yeah, and considering that you mentioned prices, there's still, it's still really pretty expensive to get all kinds of different homes, whether it's detached or attached.
Yeah, we haven't seen significant price drops yet.
And you're not expecting to?
Again, right now, if that number, that sales to active listing ratio starts to fall, then we would expect prices to come down. But it's really too early in this whole process. And as I mentioned earlier, it's hard to tell what effect the foreign buyers tax is going to have, because the market was cooling anyways. So we've seen the prices of some of the higher end homes and the number of sales of higher end homes drop in the more expensive areas like the west side of Vancouver and West Vancouver itself. But there's also been lots of areas like Maple Ridge and Squamish and other areas where the volume of sales has continued and prices are still moving ahead. So you got to balance all that out.
Mr. Morrison, at the time that this was levied, put into effect, there was, as we remember, a pretty intense debate about it. Now that it's been in place, what are you hearing from the real estate agents or the industry?
Well, again, at the beginning, the debate wasn't so much over the tax, and the politicians have the right to do that. The debate when the tax was announced was over the fact that they did not grandfather existing contracts, and they actually hurt BC residents by not grandfathering, bona fide contracts that people had made financial commitments and decisions based on contracts, and then the government turned around and gave a financial incentive to foreign buyers to actually walk away from those contracts. That was the biggest debate when the tax was announced.
All right. Okay, Dan Morrison, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.